guys. All right. I'm Monica Brant, and you are tuning into the Monica Brant Show. And I'm super excited about my guest today. He's been a longtime associate and friend from my industry, and he is one of the legendary people that have helped create this industry. And you'll soon see why once you tune into the show. He comes from a high school PE teacher to an inventor, entrepreneur, author, and owner of the #1 custom weight belt company, Cardillo Weight Belts. He's got 1 million followers on Instagram, I might add. And let's welcome to the Monica Brant Show, Steve Cardillo. Hi, Steve.
Hey.
I am doing very well today. How are you?
Excellent. Ready to go.
You're ready to go. Did you go get one of your crazy workouts in today?
Yeah.
As always.
Yep.
Awesome. I can't wait to talk to you about that. All of your workout stuff going on a little bit later here in the show. But so my understanding is that your weight belt company now has been around for 35 years. Am I correct?
Yes, 35 years officially, messing around like a year before. So it's in between, officially 35, but I've been dabbling for 36.
I like the dabbling. I love it. I think I've hit around to 30 years now for me, just in my career. It goes by so fast. Do you feel like it's gone by fast for you, or has it been?
No, it's, looking back, it's pretty wild, but it went by fast. Definitely went by fast.
And I was listening to one of the other interviews, I think maybe with Dave Palumbo. I always like listening to him. And I don't know if you caught my interview with him, but I got him to, kind of dive into some personal, heartfelt stuff, being a female.
Yes.
But yeah, and I think you guys were talking, I think at the time it was 32 years for you. And I think one of the questions he kind of asked you was how, is this something that you had decided to create, or was it just, you getting into it and it was created along the way? And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yes. Well, I went from hockey to transition to powerlifting, and the belts were extremely uncomfortable. So I thought of an idea to make the belt more comfortable, which turned out to be how I started the company. It was called the Cardillo Contour Belt, and I started powerlifting, kind of the powerlifting area of the sport, and ventured into bodybuilding eventually. But it was just to make it more comfortable belt. I approached the #1 leather manufacturer, alignment company in the world at the time, which they've been a bit for 100 years now. Formed a partnership, and from there on, went from comfortability to custom, and here we are today, the #1 custom weight belt in the world.
That is so awesome. I love it. Well, we're going to talk more about that, but I have a question for you. Well, I have a lot of questions, but one of my questions is: have you considered yourself an influencer as today's standards with the social media, with hitting 1 million followers?
They say so, but I just kind of do what I do, and I'm consistent in what I do. I've trained for so long. I was always looking for kind of, it gets boring. I mean, you always set the foundation with dumbbells and barbells and the base, but eventually over time it got kind of boring. So I kind of went into developing different stuff to training. So people are really intrigued by my outdoor gym, my descending water bucket stuff. So it's gone viral. Then it went to, they say, the younger guys are influenced, and I get a lot of people wanting me to try their stuff because I guess they consider me an expert in what I do. But I just been training for so long, and I just consider myself someone who's trained a long time. But I guess in the industry and in the social media world of it, I guess they consider me an influencer. Yes.
I mean, you know, we got to think about it back in the day. Like I've had contracts, you know, throughout all the years, and that was the influencer in the old days. And now, you know, they didn't call it influencer back then. It was always, you know, you're an endorsed athlete or you're an athlete, but now it's like, oh, you're an influencer. It's like, you've been an influencer this whole time, though. You didn't need social media to tell you that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to talk about 2020 and 2021 with you, what it's been like, what are some of your accomplishments, and what have been some of your challenges within this crazy time of our wild, crazy time of our life. Nothing else like it.
Business is honestly since social media, my business is escalated because obviously years ago you had to have magazines, and you know we had to depend on magazine for advertising, athletes wearing the athlete for the mouth. Now with social media, it's exponential on how many people, which is good for me because I've already planted my belts on so many people all over the world. Now with social media, people get to see all of these people. So I branch out far more than a million. I am in the millions of millions with the actual people, adding up all the people that wear my belt and their influence. So exponential for me, how this social media has worked. I would hate to have to start it now thinking that you're going to start a great business just through social media. It's not going to work that way. You know what I mean? We have to, it's just not going to work that way. You can't depend on social media. It's like when people only have a X number of followers, it's like sitting in a room only talking to 10 people. They think they're talking to millions of people. They're only actually talking to their 100 followers.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's kind of, it's extremely difficult. I'm fortunate enough that I've already laid down the groundwork for what I have done so that I can show what I do on social media. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Yeah. It seems like it would be a little bit overwhelming for someone to start a new company right now with how much is out there already and what the marketing is like, you know, on online. So you're right. You've had all the years leading up to this, and now it's just, you know, showing what.
I mean, going back to your day, you know, someone had to see you as a model, invite you into their team, so they chose you as a model. You didn't choose yourself as a model. With social media, everybody's a model. You know what I mean? Influencer. Everybody is whatever they want to be. But at the end of the day, the old days, you know, Bob Kennedy had to say, "Oh, Monica Brant, she's worthy of being in my magazine." Flex magazine, I say, "You're worthy," not "You're telling us that you're worthy." Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I've kind of had that same talk with people over the years as well, because there's a love-hate relationship for social media, in my opinion. Like for me, it's like, you know, it's frustrating. You hate to always have to be on it, but then it also is good for your business. So
yes, I mean, if you had social media in your day, you know, you'd be far more than a million. You'd be in the millions. But we can't like cry over spilled milk. We have to proceed to what we have now. It's just I have a business where all of what I built previous to social media has helped me become even more notable. You know what I mean? That's to what I do.
Yeah, your credentials. Exactly. So, so I guess for this year and a half, you haven't really had any setbacks because of what's going on in the world right now, or the economy or anything. It's just that's awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
Just gets better because I have more time I spend a lot of time on my social media. So, you know, I work on my social media all the time. So I never really skip a beat. My lifestyle is, you know, I have my own gym, so I didn't have to worry about going to a gym. Honestly, nothing has really changed for me. Knock on wood. Health has been great. Everything's been great. So my life is really, I'm kind of an introvert. So I have no problem being around everybody. So it really wasn't tough for me. And I had more chance to focus on my business.
That's cool. Yeah. That's awesome. So are you someone that likes to talk about current events or what's going on in the world? Or do you stay away from talking about it?
Oh God, man. It's just so negative. You know, I mean, everything is, I try to stay positive because, you know, we think we as one person has a voice we can change. My voice ain't strong enough to make that type of change. So I kind of just go with what's going to happen. I can't really change anything. So I adapt to the situation and hope for the best. And that's basically all I do. And hopefully everything works out for everyone in the world.
Well, it looks and it sounds like you also take care of other people, and you know you're good to people and you honor people. So, you know, there's a lot of people that look up to you and love you, and I'm sure that has to do with how you treat others. And sometimes that's what we have to just fall back on, right? It's just taking care of the people around us and treating others with respect, and it helps.
It's really all about loyalty. I mean, honestly, I get asked a lot to do podcasts, and you and I seen we've been in a little trouble with this, but you were very, very, you know, at the very early time, you did something for me that at the time was very, very important to me, and I'll never forget that. So with this, you know, I wanted to make sure that you and I got to be able to do this.
Wow.
I don't forget what people do for me.
Am I the first female that's interviewed you?
Yes.
I love it. I think that's awesome. Oh, that's great. I've interviewed quite a lot of the bodybuilders, and of course, you know, the women too, and different people throughout the industry, because I started this show in April of 2020 because I was like, I just want to get in touch with all my friends and find out how people are doing and what's going on. I thought, well, maybe it'd be fun to have do a little show. And so we put this together last year. Ronnie Coleman was my first interview, and I've had quite a few of them on. I'm supposed to be getting Dorian on soon. And I was talking to 𝗬𝗁𝗁𝗁 recently about coming on the show and just catching up with him. It'd been a long time since I talked to him. And he's like, you're going to be the first female to ever interview me. And I was like, interesting, because I had never really thought about that before. So I thought I had to ask you if I was your first female.
Well, that's a compliment to you, because the guys like to talk to guys, I guess.
Maybe it's just easier, you know, to talk about all the weightlifting and all the things, but I try to talk about those things, but I also really enjoy getting to know people. I'm a relationship person, and I just enjoy learning about people and knowing people. And of course, you know, always on the positive end of things. And it's interesting to me to see how people have created their space. And of course, in our industry is kind of what I've been primarily focused on, but we're going to open it up to some other things too. But I started just wanting to talk to people that are the legendary athletes and nutrition gurus, and people that were behind the scenes with photography and media and magazines, and people like yourself that have these cool businesses that just really help develop the industry that what we know it is now. Yes. So my hope is that this is a honoring show for all the people that I'm able to bring on and that will join me, and I'll have some really cool conversations for people to get to know people like yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah, on a different basis than just your awesome, crazy workouts.
Mentioning Ronnie Coleman, he was another one who was extremely helped my business along the way. Still helpful, very nice person. Everything that makes somebody nice, Ronnie is.
He is.
He's sincere, and I owe him a lot too.
You know, it's interesting to me. I've had a lot of connections with a lot of the bodybuilders over the years, but there's certain ones that anytime I message them and just to say hello, check in, how you doing, or maybe I needed a quick little video for an aspiring a son, like a friend of mine's maybe aspiring bodybuilder son or something, you know, Ronnie and Dorian, they always get back to me, and they'll send little encouragement videos once in a while, or a little message to somebody, and they're just signed pictures, you know, but they've always been just a friend back. And it's nice to just be able to have those people in your life that you like kind of can go back to the good old days, you know, and think about when we worked together, when we'd see each other out at different events. And it's cool to have those friends.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Each other. It doesn't cost anything for Ronnie to send you thank you or you need anything. So that's the other great thing about social media. It costs nothing. Nothing to make somebody happy. You give them a like, you give them a comment. Every single day, I try to make at least 30 people happy just by interacting on my social media. I mean, it's you can just tell, hey, you look great today.
Yeah.
It's the most ultimate way, and it costs nothing. Everyone is so they won't hit the like button because it's you. That's horrible. I mean, they don't want to help, but that's what the world is, and it exposes the bad people because they're self-centered and don't want to help people, and you have the people that want to help, and over time you see who are the good and who are the bad.
All right, so I'm expecting to get a like from you once in a while here.
Whatever you want. That's a definite, but as the follows become bigger, it becomes more difficult. It's not like, I try to answer a single thing, but as it gets higher and higher, it becomes more difficult. But it's not like you try to ignore it. I had more capability of giving more love when I had less, but I try to give back by doing giveaways and just doing things to show that I do appreciate everyone that follows me and helps my business. And, I want to give back. I want to give back. I want to give as much as I can. And that's kind of a way I can do it. So, but yes, it doesn't cost anything.
That's awesome. That's fun. I agree. It's fun to see those people that will, when you say something to them or you follow them back or something, they get so excited and they're like, someone said, we just got followed by my, my mentor or whatever the case is. It's cute to see that. And you're right. It just takes a few seconds to make people happy and think about others. And I guess that ultimately that's what God says we're supposed to do, is take care of other people. Right. So.
And it definitely exposes the good from the bad.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I want to talk about your growing up and who you were when you were a child, and where did you grow up, and what were your parents like?
Well, I grew up 3 miles out of Boston. My parents were hard workers. So basically, they instilled the work in me that I do. It was just basically hard work. I was involved in all kinds of sports, but I started with hockey, played at a high level, won all scholastic. Then my real love was the lifting part of it. So I lifted during hockey season, which was taboo at the time. When I finally went to college, I gave up on hockey and went straight into lifting seriously and powerlifting. After the second year at college, I was one spot away from All-American, making the transition. I decided I was going to be a phys ed teacher because I always want to be involved in sports. And I decided to make that better, more comfortable belt. So as I was teaching, I was doing my belts at part-time job. Then eventually cut a deal with Reebok to do the pump belts. And that's what catapulted me into the fitness world at a level.
Wow.
Quick.
Yeah, it's like super quick. So, so I have some questions in between all of that.
Fire.
Yeah. So what were your parents? You said your parents were hardworking. Were they involved in your life? Were you close to your parents?
I was very, very close to my parents, but it was more about as long as you weren't getting into trouble, like they supported whatever I did. But they, it didn't matter as long as I was doing something productive. That's all that mattered. I was real good in hockey. It was no big. It was nice. My mother they were proud of me, but it wasn't like the parents talking about their kids. It was just my father was more proud that I was working. As long as I was working, supporting. Yeah, he knew nothing about lifting, but he would support me. He made me a set of dumbbells, had them welded. When I went to the venture going to do the belt, he supported me. He called the company. He flew me out there with him. Know nothing about weightlifting, but I guess hindsight, he believed in me enough to want to help me do what I wanted to do.
Wow, that's fun.
Yeah.
So he was one of your biggest influencers, I guess, in your beginning, because you said he made you dumbbells.
Yeah, when I was like 13, we had 10-pound plates, 5-pound plates. He took it to his friend at the body shop, and I still have them. He welded me up the weights, and I went from 15 to I think 65. All odd weights or whatever. But if that's what I wanted, he knew I was going to be on the cellar, so it was a good spot for me. And he was just, still to this day, I'd be nothing without him. With the major part of influencing me on work, and till this day, I'd be nothing without him.
Wow.
That's the way, but he still motivates me every day to. No, if I think I'm going to do something wrong, I think of my parents and say they wouldn't like that. So that kind of kept me in check. I never had a curfew. I came home at 10 o'clock. It was just what I felt I should do. It was nice. It was a nice growing up.
Did you have other siblings?
A sister and a brother. My nephew that you talk about at the store, his father passed away when he was 6. So I kind of led the way for my nephew, and same thing. He works. He's been in his store for 25 years, morning, noon, and night. He eats it. Passionate about his business. So I guess the work ethics just go on and on. None of us are rocket scientists, but we are willing to work to achieve the goals that we want.
Wow. And what about your sister?
My sister, she was a school teacher. She just does her thing, but very driven too, but not business.
Are you guys close?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
That's good.
I support everyone in my family, meaning support, encouraging them to do well. So, but I'm there for them, like they're there for me.
That's awesome. Does she live near you, or is she still in the area?
Nephew lives right next door to me, and my sister is probably 10 miles away, and my other niece about 15 miles. Everyone's pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. The families nearby each other. What was your dad? What did he do growing up?
He was shoveling coal when he was 5 years old in his father's factory.
Oh my goodness.
He was a worker from day one, but he wasn't. He was a janitor at a school, home for 2 hours, and he worked at the post office from 5 to 10, 6 days a week. Then he had property, so on the weekends he'd work his property. So it was a grind from 7 days a week, and a family together was going out in the yard raking and working. It wasn't going on vacation. Our time together was working. So it was just a normal. I never saw my father watching or anything. He was always working. So family time was work time, washing and cars. So there was no big vacations, but later on in life, that's for me to do now, I guess.
Wow. That's awesome. So your dad was a big influence, and I love the fact he made you weights, and you still have them today.
Yes. Yep. I have probably 50% of the things that he built for me or had made for me. I trained in my basement. His house. I still have all the stuff. Yeah.
Wow. That is so cool.
Yep. You hit on with me. So here we go. This is all fresh grounds.
Aw.
That's cool.
That's funny. So with hockey, did you think that ever was going to be a professional sport for you?
I had my heart and soul set on, my goal was obviously to make it. Well, I set realistic goals level from being on the A team to making the varsity my freshman year to going to college. I wanted to, I was working towards trying to be a professional hockey player, but it just didn't work out, which is good for me because I transferred over to powerlifting, which then led later to my business.
Yeah, because I guess with hockey, maybe you weren't so worried about the belts. I mean, right? With powerlifting, it's a little bit more, you got to be really specialized in the things that you use for powerlifting.
Yes, exactly. But I correlated my hockey stuff, my glove, to my weight belts because I wanted my glove to be so soft and broken in. So it rolled it over into my weight belt. So everything worked out. And I did train while I played hockey, which you shouldn't, obviously. Well, if we talk about the book, I'll tell you how I, changed all that fallacy. But, everything just works out for the best, just like everything in life.
Well, to people that, have the right heart about it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So are there actually professional hockey teams in the United States, or is it because I'm like, I don't remember any professional hockey teams in the United States.
Hold on. Yeah, there are 90% of them in the United States.
What? I'm just always thinking Canada.
because the original 6, you had Montreal, Toronto. They were in Canada. Then you had the Rangers, the Bruins, the Red Wings, Rangers, Bruins, Red Wings. Oh boy. And one other team, but most of the teams are in the States, but they used to, when I played, 95% of them were Canadians playing in the NHL. Now we have the Swedes and Czechoslovakians all over the world. It's just branched out all the world. But yes, you are correct. You're not wrong. Meaning 95% of the athletes are from Canada, but the teams are from most of the United States.
Wow. See, I just was completely thinking the opposite. But I didn't.
You're not wrong, because you are right about the percentage of the athletes that play in the game are from Canada. Correct.
Okay. Okay. So thank you. That's very nice of you to give me a little credit.
Oh.
You know, I'm in Texas, and down here, you know, hockey for us was not a big deal. You know, football and baseball and
Dallas Stars.
the Dallas Stars. Okay.
Right.
Do you still watch hockey? Are you in Canada?
Yeah. Well, I make belts for a lot of professional hockey teams. You know, I kind of follow everyone that my customers. So I have football, a lot of football, some hockey, some basketball. But I guess I spend most time watching football if I watch anything, and then hockey is my secondary. But hockey is still my favorite.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
No problem.
It's a dangerous sport. Would you say hockey is more dangerous than football with?
What you have, football is more. If you get an injury in football, it's more traumatic.
Oh, really? Even with all the fighting that goes on in hockey?
Well, hockey is all more of the bruises, knocking your teeth out, getting your eyes black and blue. You know, daily, they play almost every day, where football is like getting once a week, getting in a car accident once a week. So keep getting into a car accident, you might rip out your knee, you know, neck injury, more fatal injuries, because it's once a week, and hockey is more, hockey pretty brutal, but not as threatening. Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, I do know that, and maybe what I'm remembering, because maybe it was hockey's a smaller group of people, and seems, in my remembering, it just seems like there was a smaller locker room, because I dated someone that played hockey, and not professional or anything, but I just remember his bag and everything, how bad his stuff smelled.
But now that's like the biggest, like, thinking today, it's disgusting. And they did something on one of these sports medical shows, and they actually put different athletes, like, containers, and a guy would go in and sniff it. And when they got to the hockey, the guy almost passed out.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. But now they have stuff where they actually they put the stuff in a chamber that pulls out the moisture. But it's still disgusting. The hands are disgusting. It's disgusting. Looking back, and wash it. When you're playing, it's like, it doesn't bother you. You kind of like it, but hindsight, it's disgusting. Definitely.
Good. Then I actually, my memory is correct, because I remember it was just so gross. I was like, oh,
yeah,
don't get that near me.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, that's funny. What years were those that you played hockey?
In the 80s.
In the 80s.
Yep.
Okay.
Made the switch.
Awesome. And then you went in and you decided to be a teacher. How long were you a physical education teacher?
I think a total of 6 years. I think I worked 4, then I got laid off, worked construction 2, back to teaching for 2. So within the 8-year period of time, I was building my weight belt business.
Okay.
And then once I cut the Reebok deal, I think that was like 90. Then it just took off from there, and I had to make the decision, weight belts full time.
All right. So Reebok, I saw your post today. I was going through your social media, and I saw your post about Reebok. So can we talk about that a little bit? Because I'd like to find out how that came about.
All right. So even in the 90s, late 80s, my belts were considered still like the best in the world. I was making belts for Michael Jordan at the time. Like, probably the biggest one today is The Rock, but in the time, and still pretty lateral to The Rock, would be Michael Jordan. So even as early as then, I was making the belts for him, besides professional wrestlers. And Reebok approached me and said, would like you to design the pump belt. And in the early 90s, that's when the pump technology came out. And I said, sure, absolutely. And the great thing about it, it was done on a handshake the first year of development, no papers, no nothing. They were a great company, great people. I'm still friends with the guy that cut the deal officially with me, and he was a president of Hasbro, and it just went on and on. But it was all done on a handshake. And then that's when I basically learned the industry of retail.
Ah.
So I know all about retail. I learned a lot of marketing through Reebok, because I kind of run my belt business almost like a sneaker business.
Okay.
So I learned a lot. It was a great learning experience above and beyond the money.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. What a education you got with that.
Yes.
And how long was your time with Reebok as far as working with them in contracts? Or
6 years.
6 years.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Amazing. But again, the education was, I trenched in it. And then talking about my nephew at the time, he was like 12 years old. He would come on all the meetings. He was involved in all of it. So at 12 years old, he looked like 18. So, but everyone embraced him, all the wrestlers, because again, his father passed away. So he would be a sidekick to me. And he learned, so his expertise in marketing has made him the #1 retail store in the country.
That was just amazing.
We strive to be #1 here.
So with that said, what are some of your favorite accomplishments since you started this?
Just honestly, it's just the money doesn't motivate me. It's making people happy. Like I get calls from so many people wanting me to make a belt is a special gift for as everything.
Mm-hmm.
So on that level, it's just making people happy when people get extremely happy when they get something, because it's the most personal thing that you get that has to do with our sport. If you wear a weight belt, you follow me? I mean, you change your shirt, but once you break that weight belt in, that basically goes with you for life. So,
and like Dave said, unless you lose it.
It's about people burning cars. They jump into their cars, and the only thing, if their house gets broken in and someone steals their bag, not for the belt, they just disappointed that the belt got stolen.
Yeah.
There's so many crazy stories, because it's like a baseball glove. A baseball player, he loses his glove, it changes his game.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's just the people being happy. I don't look for any, I don't want anything from anyone, but just it's nice when they appreciate it. And I get a lot of that. So it's very rewarding to me.
So you've made belts for a lot of the celebrities. What about the industry? Are there any specific things you've done with on an ongoing basis for the bodybuilding industry?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. Like every single person that's won the Arnold Classic has worn my belt. Everyone since the beginning. I think the top, 7 or 8 Mr. Olympias all have worn my weight belt. So it doesn't really get much better than that,
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
So that's kind of where it's at. That's
what about the females?
Yeah, I mean, all the bikini girls. You would have been one of the girls. You know what I mean? You would have been an IFBB pro for sure, right out of the gate.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but I did win the Olympia in '98 in France, and I've had this little belt that you gave me.
Look at that. What did you Olympia?
In '98, but you gave me this before '98, yeah. So I have a question for you.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. What'd you win in '98?
The Fitness Olympia.
Probably.
It was in France though, so a lot of people just kind of missed it because it was in France. But do you think I could send it back to you and get Fitness Olympia '98 or something on it?
I think you keep that one and we make you a new one.
Okay.
We'll make a different color too. Yeah, whatever you want.
That'd be awesome.
After the show, sketch something up, and then you definitely need a Miss Olympia belt.
I know, right? I love this belt. And I was like, I thought I would teach you. And you know what? Did you notice
What I
the
put on? Oh yeah,
the heart?
yeah.
I mean, that's been my signature with my signature for years. I've had that, you know, that my little heart with Monica Brant, and that's kind of something. I have a tattoo on my foot with it.
I love that.
Yeah, Nicole, do you do the heart still?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. You just sketch out what you want, and I'll make it.
Well, what if I'm not a good sketcher?
What? No, you just write on a piece of paper. You leave it up.
I'm like, I'm not an artist.
That's just simple.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
But you know what would be nice to have on this is the year.
Yeah, you just put everything you need. Oh, that's gone.
Okay.
But we'll freshen up.
That's gone. This is priceless. What are you talking about? It's not gone. How about if you sign it for me?
Yeah, we'll sign it and date it, whatever you want. All right.
Okay, that's what I want.
But the new one will be all brand new, ready to go.
Okay.
Now, quick question. Do you remember what calendar girl you were on my calendar?
I don't remember you mean which month?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
There you are, September. It was September. Lost the volume. I didn't touch anything. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, Claudia can cut that out.
All right.
I don't know what happens. Like sometimes I'll touch something and then all of a sudden it'll go mute and then I don't see it. And then I'm like, what? Okay.
All right.
Okay. So
all right. Where we were. Good.
Back to where we were. Okay. So I'm going to get you this belt so you can sign it for me and date it. And then that would be amazing having an IFBB. So all of the female Olympias get them too?
Everybody.
Well, that's cool.
Let's see. I have to say 90% of the physique, the bikinis, I think all the bikinis, all the Miss Olympias since Iris is obviously she's there. Corey wore it, Linda Murray wore it. I'm not too hep on the female Miss Olympia stuff right now. Extremely good to me.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Iris is extremely good. Obviously 10 times. Very nice person. Very, very grateful for everything. But yeah, all the bikini girls, there's so many, all the physique guys, everybody.
That's awesome.
Them. There are, there's sporadic because now there's so many categories.
There are so many.
Yeah. Exactly.
And now what about the Arnold is moved to right before the Olympia?
Yeah, and it's going to be in Florida. I don't know. I think that the Arnold I love the Arnold, but you've been there. It's kind of like for business, it's really not good.
Yeah.
It's a flea market. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Competition is amazing. You win the Arnold, it's the next greatest thing. The Arnold, the New York Pro.
Hey, back in the day, I could make like $5,000 cash just selling 8x10s.
Absolutely.
And then and then I added things to that. But then the companies that you worked with, they all wanted you to start because one company decided they were only handing out free pictures of their athletes and they wouldn't let anyone sign and sell pictures anymore.
Yes.
And then all the companies tried to do that. And the companies that I was with, I always made sure that I was still allowed to sell pictures because I would have people come and they would buy all 10 of my pictures. If I had 10 pictures, they'd buy all of them.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was like, so anytime I had a new contract, I said, look, I don't mind handing out 1 or 2 freebie, but if you take this away from me, I'm losing a lot of my income, you know, in the different shows that you send me to. So
yes.
Yeah. So, you know, it was just something we got to do back in the day, but, you know, it was so different back then. Again, there's not all the social media and all the internet and people being able to print out, and a gazillion photographers now, right? Like everyone's a photographer.
As long as you have a camera, you're a photographer.
Yeah. You know, I've had such a hard time. Maybe you can advise me. I've had a hard time with selfie things, like video and pictures and stuff. I'll do some here and there, but it feels really vain to me, and it feels really awkward because for all those, you know, almost 30 years, I've had, you know, like a direction with magazines hire you to come and do photos or for cover, or, you know, it's like, or you're a model for something. So it felt so wrong. It feels so wrong to do selfie stuff.
Right. But again, back then they were marketing you. Today you're marketing yourself. So you have to go with the times. You know, selfies, you out with the horses in the backyard. I mean, that's what the times come to. You know what I mean? Where you have to adapt to the times. If you don't adapt, then you're not going to make it in the social media world. You're always going to flourish because who you are, but in the social media world, you're going to have to adapt to the trends of what's going on.
Now, I am not going to adapt to the selfies in the bathroom with the toilet seat there. I'm like, find a better place.
Gotta have a fine line.
Yeah. And like some of those pictures to me, I'm just like, that's terrible. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay.
All right.
So you've become friends with some of the high profile people you've created belts for, right?
Yep.
Yeah. You said Hulk Hogan, The Rock.
Yep. All great people.
Yeah.
They can call on me, and, you know, hopefully I can call on them. I don't ask of anything from anybody, really. I know my position, and but, you know, Hulk Hogan's been extremely good to me over the years. Him and Randy Savage are the ones who basically, before Michael Jordan, they catapulted me into wrestling. Was the first catapult for me because they were seen on TV with the belt. So, you know, you see Michael Jordan playing on the court, but you don't see Michael Jordan in the gym. So my only means of television promotion was through Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. So till this day, Randy's gone, but till this day, I'm be always grateful to Hulk Hogan for what he's done, and we still do. He buys hundreds of belts for. He has it's called Hogan's Beach Shop in Tampa, in Clearwater. So he buys. I must have made him 15 different renditions of the belts he wore. So he buys a lot of belts for his beach shop, and they're all authentic of what he wore at the time. He's just
cool.
Up and beyond business. He's just been. I can call him for anything. I don't, but I could call on him.
Yeah.
You know, Dwayne, whatever he wants, you know, he gets, and he's extremely good to me. And
that's awesome.
It's just I've got to meet a lot of great people. Vince McMahon, I do a lot of stuff still for him. A lot of the WWE wrestlers, you know, they can confide in me. I have their, you know, I look at my phone and I say, holy shit, the numbers I have in this phone, but out there, you know what I mean? But it's well protected, well, you know. But when you look at it, you say, wow, these people have a lot of trust in me.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Life is beautiful. Life is beautiful.